how it all started. Hey, there we go. Now it's real. Come on, brother. Come on. So how it all started is myself, Marcel, Victor, and Charles. We have some commonalities amongst each other. Number one is that we're full-time professionals. We work 8 to 5 plus. And I'm sure there's many of you in here that are in that exact same category. The second item that we share together is that we're all married. And then number 3, we all have young kids. And then number 4, which is the cherry on top, we all have a passion for multifamily real estate. And because we have that all commonality between each other, we understand the positives and the challenges that comes with that type of life scenario, the chapter of life that we're in right now, especially when it comes to handling responsibilities across family, corporate jobs, social community stuff, while trying to execute successfully and at a high level in the multifamily space. So what we decided to do was, hey, we understand the struggles. It is a challenge. Not only do us four need one another so much to make progress in this industry of multifamily real estate, but we wanted to create a platform for others in similar situations to ourselves, navigating a 9 to 5 plus job, but having the inward burning desire to be in multifamily real estate and be successful in that type of space. So we're like, hey, let's have a Sunday night Zoom meeting, because we know for the most part that time works out well for all the folks that work Monday through Friday at their 9 to 5 jobs. Let's come together. Let's get educated. Let's get inspired. Let's light each other's fire. Let's help each other, hold each other accountable to what needs to be done so that we all continue to make progress together. So that's the purpose of the Zoom tonight. And again, so happy everybody is here. Let's rock and roll.
Amazing. I love it. I always get inspired every week again when you share that, man.
Come on, brother. Come on.
I love that. You can just do it for me every week, man.
Now just give me the signal. Hey, QB1, fire away.
Exactly. Our QB1, man. This guy, matter of fact, let me tell you this. Everyone now knows, because I keep telling everybody, that Trevor used to be a quarterback for the University of Texas. And then I asked him actually in our team call yesterday that we have every week, every Saturday. I asked him, I said, Trevor, matter of fact, I never asked you, how many people did you play in front of actually? And he said casually, he was like, yeah, it was like 100,000. And I was like, what? What? 100,000? I mean, wow. Right? That's, I mean, heck, I played soccer in Europe, and even the biggest pros in Europe don't play in front of 100,000 usually. They play in front of a few 10,000s, right? And this guy played in front of 100,000. So, you know, this guy can handle pressure. So we have what, like 29 people in the Zoom right now? I mean, this guy is cool as I don't know, cool as can be, I guess.
Hey, the phrase is cool as the other side of the pillow.
There we go.
That's what it is, man.
Something learned. Guys, let's share some wins here. I think it's always important to share the wins. And as I always tell you guys, it's not only about sharing a win to get some recognition here. Please share a win to showcase other people in the room what you have accomplished, because they may struggle with just that, and you can provide some value to them to show them how you overcame what somebody else might still struggle with. So I tell you a win of mine, for example, this week we had, and I love it that he's here in the Zoom. We have Brandon in here in the Zoom. And matter of fact, we dove deep, did some underwriting with him this week again on our Rocky Top deal, 40 units in Knoxville that we have on the contract, seller finance deal. And, you know, we're newbies, right? We're all newbies. So we underwrite this thing very conservatively. And here comes Brandon, who is the lead underwriter, by the way, of Mr. Carlos Salguero and the CS3 investment team. So you know what kind of people are in the room here. And we looked at our deal, and man, he showed us some ways where there's extra value, extra money. Matter of fact, I think we went from a 2 something X multiplier to a 4X. So basically, we doubled the
Come
value
on.
by just somebody that's so experienced already taking the lead and showcasing us what the opportunity is. And this showcases you again to be in the right room with the right people, having the right network, getting accustomed to new people that have a little bit more experience. This is why we come into these rooms, right? So I was thrilled after that call. Matter of fact, I told my wife about it. I always tell my wife is my partner in crime. So I always, to me, I need to share stuff. So I went to her and I got so excited, and she looked at me and said, "Man, you look like a 6-year-old that's talking about, I don't know, a new comic book that he just got, a new story or something like that." So super amazing. That was the win for me this week. I mean, there has been multiple others, but that's something I want to share. So let me turn it over to you guys. I see there's some hands raised. How about we start with Jimmy? You're muted, Jimmy. Let me unmute you, but you can unmute yourself too. Still muted. Can you hear us, Jimmy? Let me see here. Jimmy, you have to unmute you. I still can't hear you.
Let's come back to Jimmy.
Yeah, let's come back to him. Jimmy, try to unmute you. Once you figured out how to unmute you, just speak up. Let's roll over to Sophie.
Hi, okay, I got some wins this week. The mastermind was awesome last weekend. And as the ones that were there know, I did a pitch in front of the crowd. And I followed up this week some things on my pitch, on my property that I'm working on. It's a property in Texas, Arcana, a 75-unit property. And this week, I had a Zoom call on Friday with the broker, Brandon, myself, and what's his name? Oh God, now I forget. Zach. And we went over all our questions with the broker, and the broker shared with us all his underwriting, and we had a fabulous Zoom. And I also got more underwriting from Brandon, a 10-year pro forma, and we're waiting to get more information about the debt quotes and the insurance quote, which we're waiting to get before, well, at least I think we're heading that way. I think we're heading into sending in an LOI. I'm waiting to get a template from Zach to send in an LOI. I'm waiting to get all the information before I do that. So the deal is really looking good, and I agree with what Marcel said. It's really worthwhile getting the information underwritten by Brandon at the CS3 Investments. It's really been helping me to get that information, that data. Anyway, it's been a really great week. Ever since mastermind.
Amazing. That's
Yeah.
so. I mean, and Sophie, you were. I wanna give 2 touches on it before I do that. No, right away. You won an award last weekend, right? You won an award.
Yeah.
You won the what was it? The biggest progress award. What was it exactly?
I think most transformation or something
Most transformation.
like that.
Sophie,
Yeah,
did you do, before you joined the mentorship, did you do anything in real estate before?
Well, I did buy my father's house
But in terms of
Uh,
investment, were you an active
No,
investor?
no, I wasn't
I
an
mean,
active investor. No.
and guys, look at this, right? I mean, Sophie was not an investor whatsoever, and then she decided that she's gonna join a mentorship, join a room full of quality people, and follow a mentor. And now 12 weeks later, she's here talking about deals that she's about to take down, right? Especially not just on her own, also. She's talking about Zach from Dallas, who's boots on the ground for that, as far as I understand, right? You're getting in
Yes.
the room with Brandon, you know, like underwriting stuff on a top-notch level. I mean, that's to me, I mean, heck, well deserved. What a transformation. Absolutely amazing. Thank you, Sophie.
Yeah, the deal's going great and it's looking even better than it did last weekend. And I'm
There you
improving
go.
my pitch. I'm improving my pitch and it's going to be coming out again sometime soon.
There you go.
Thank
I'm gonna
you.
give you this, Sophie, here. What we have. I used to have my horn here. I tried to bring it back, but there we go.
The
We were
horn's
missing
not
it.
as strong as it has been, Marcel.
Yeah, I know. I need to be strong with the horn again. Hey,
Yes, you
Sophie,
do.
thank
Okay.
you. Come bring
Thank
that
you.
back next week, Sophie.
Thanks, Sophie.
Bring back the win on the progress on that next week. Jimmy,
Yeah,
are you able
I'll
to
keep you
unmute now?
informed. Bye.
Are you able to unmute, Jimmy? Yes? We still can't hear you. There you are.
There you are. Thank you.
Amazing. What's up, Jimmy?
You remember that property that we underwrote there at the mentorship at our mastermind? Got a couple of us jumped on it, and I drove to look at it. You know how pictures deceive you? They weren't. It was worth, it was worth 12 hours invested, just about, looking it over and walking around and talking to them as a tenant would. So anyway, just wanted to share that win, and got a professional going to help us dig deep on this thing, and keep you guys updated.
Awesome.
Hey, Jimmy, I love it. You're an action taker. That's what this showcase is, right? You're an action taker, and I loved, and I know everybody here too that was there last weekend. Loved meeting you in person. What a genuine and humble human being you are. I mean, that you added so much value. It was amazing to meet you in person, man. All right, guys, I have another hand here. Joel, our youngster.
I'm doing great, Marcel. How are you doing?
Excellent, man. Let's crush it.
Yeah, so I've been winning with brokers lately, and this is coming from a guy who struggled to talk with a single direct-to-seller, single-family homeowner. So I learned a few things from talking to these brokers, and what I learned this week was upfront agreements. So they're like key upfront agreements. So I've been telling them, like, we want to build a long-term relationship. I've been telling them I want to make money together. We are unrepresented, and I wanted to tell them they can write up both sides of the offer for us. And then I've been telling they'll get the commissions too. And then I kept including stuff like we are well funded, we're principal, whether it's principal, syndication, or partnership, we will be able to fund the deal. I've been transparent with them too. Like, I'm new, I'm young, I'm 19, and that was the best thing I told them, because they want to help me grow. On top of that, I've been learning things like I've been telling my criteria. I've been telling about the upside and everything, and just so the relationships are growing. It's a small win, but it's getting better and better. So they sent me my first 100 unit, but the 100 unit did not pass the napkin underwriting, but it's still a start. So I'm kind of
Amazing.
happy about that this week.
I love that. And all the stuff you're sharing is amazing, especially because how old are you, Joel?
I'm 19.
19. I mean, is that's absolutely mind blowing. Can you guys recall when you were 19 what you guys were doing? I mean, I was in different rooms. My God, I'm so excited for you. And I love how you take consistent action, because I remember a couple of weeks ago we were talking about, you had a question about something like how fast what can you do to get a deal fast or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And the feedback was, don't worry about fast, worry about consistent. And I see you consistent in the rooms, asking questions, sharing feedback, and sharing what you've been doing during the week. That's exactly what you need to do. And man, I'm so excited for you and your journey moving forward. It's absolutely incredible.
I appreciate it, Marcel. One more thing I learned, this is a little bit I kind of want to share, splitting between long-term and short-term goals. Like one short-term goal for me right now is I have to get the wholesale deal done in single family. And from broker outreach, I learned talking with other single family brokers and agents as well. So they also send off-market deals. So like that is one stepping stone for me to get also into multifamily, because I at least have some cash in my hand. Because right now I don't want to. I did not tell my parents this because only you guys are gonna know. But I did drop out of college for now. I took a pause in it, and so now I'm just wanting to focus only on real estate and get a deal done and help people if I can too on my journey.
Amazing.
And
that
I'm
also
so
means you have a
happy.
lot of time. A lot of time.
Exactly. And I'm happy for you guys to bring me into this.
100%. We want to take as many people along the journey. And the great thing that you have to offer, Joel, I wouldn't be worried about money, because you have an asset to offer that a lot of us don't have to offer anymore. And that is time, right? It's sweat equity. Invest the time you have and build partnerships. Come to teams, bring and say, hey, what can I do for you guys? How can I add value for you? You have deals already flowing in, right? So find people to take these deals down with. You don't always have to have money. If you have the time to put in, man, that's your asset right there.
Exactly.
I love it. Thanks for sharing.
Appreciate it,
mate.
Marshall.
All right, we got Peter. Man, I love seeing you here, brother.
Good to be here. Sorry, I can't turn my camera on. I don't know. This laptop has a camera, but I can't seem to turn it on. But anyway.
No worries.
So I just wanted to mention, like some other folks have said, very small wins, but my intention this past week was to start looking for multifamily deals. And I didn't end up doing anything for that, but I've come across 2 deals that have just come to me. So it's like I put the intention out there in the universe after being on the Zoom call with you and Carlos and Keston, and it's already started to come, even though I didn't take any direct action to make it happen. So pretty amazing that's just showing up, putting myself in the environment, and things are happening. In fact, I asked the one guy, I was like, why did you reach out to me specifically? And he didn't really have a good answer for that. He didn't know why. So I don't even know how we got connected exactly, but here he's got a seller with 7 different properties he wants to unload. So
because you're present, right? Because you're present, you're taking action, you're there.
That's it.
I love it. Thanks for sharing, Peter. I still owe you a call back from this weekend.
We'll talk this week.
Sounds good. Thanks for sharing, Peter. All right, guys, let's move forward. Let's move to the most exciting part of today. I'm really thrilled. I'm excited to introduce our guest speaker for today. Like I said, I met our friend James Katina last weekend together with Charles and Victor at the Mastermind. And the impact he had on people was breathtaking. I mean, I had some offside conversations with him as well. And he really psychologically impacted me. I'm really excited. And the first thing I thought was how can I get him into our room to share that with all of you? And I think it was not a couple hours later, I went back to James and said, hey, James, can you please come to our Sunday Zoom and share whatever you shared with me today and what you're going to share this weekend? Just be there and share that with everybody else. So that's why he's here today. He's an award-winning artist, guys. He's traveled the world. He's been on big stages. He's been busy. He's traveled and still made it work to be an entrepreneur on the side. Matter of fact, over a year ago, he was the inspiration for our mentor Carlos really to go into multifamily real estate. And I hope he touches a little bit on that today. So I'm really, really excited, guys, to introduce to you today, guys, James Katina. Welcome,
Come
James.
on.
Hey,
Yes.
what's going on, family?
Come on.
What is
So
going
excited.
on? Hey, are we able, Trevor, Marcel, to just put this on gallery mode, or is that just on my end? Oh, there we go. I want to see faces.
There you go.
There you go. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear you perfect and see you.
Awesome. Awesome. And you know, this is not mandatory, but if you're at all able to turn on your camera, that'd be awesome. Because this is just, look at this like a big living room where we're just having fellowship, Sunday fellowship. As a matter of fact, I literally just got back into town. I live here in Nashville, actually Franklin, Tennessee, which is a little south of Nashville. But my brothers and I were playing in Atlanta. We were playing leading worship at a church, a beautiful church called Chapel Hill. They had 2 services, and we took over the entire service. So, but it was a full weekend. But I was so excited. I'm trying to remember, Marcel, when you called me or texted me to see if I could join in, and I didn't want to miss out on the opportunity. So let me just say that first. I really appreciate Marcel and Trevor, my brother Victor and Charles. It's amazing. While this is my first time in this living room, I'm just really, really excited for this group, certainly for these 4 gentlemen, but for this community that you're building and that you're creating, because, and I don't want it to sound like a cliche, but it is really true, family, that it's important that you find the right rooms to get into and to be in, because you're going to meet people that you need to meet. And I'd love to share as much of my story on how, you know, this coconut head island Samoan kid who followed his dream along with his 4 brothers to be a band, to be musicians, how God literally took that dream and just blew our minds, where we've been a band. This is how we make a living, and we've been doing it now for almost 30 years. And then turning into a professional real estate investor over just the less than 2 years. So wherever you need me to start, Marcel, Trevor, I'd love to whatever, answer questions. You guys tell me, but I'm just glad to be here.
Amazing. I thanks for sharing that. You guys can tell already, right? The spice that's there. I always get excited, James, when you talk. You just have a I mean, what is it? Like a skill, you know, that just draws everybody in. I just love that. But I would say, James, let's start with how can one become a successful multifamily real estate investor? What is the most important advice that you would give somebody that is just about starting in multifamily real estate?
Great question. Great question, Marcel. I think it starts within, right? It starts with you. And by the way, I love, because I have this in common with my 4 brothers. I'm married as well, right? And I do have a little guy, but I also have some older children. I've got 5 children altogether. Jackson's 25, Dylan's 23, Haley is 16. As a matter of fact, we are getting up early in the morning to drive Haley to Mississippi State University to tour that school. So she's only a junior, but she's set on being an architect. And Mississippi State has one of the top 5 programs there. And then we've got Riley, who is middle school. She's 13, going on 22. And then we've got Levi, who's our little guy. He's my 6-year-old. So a pretty wide span there. And the reason why I mentioned that not only because I can relate to my 4 brothers, but your question, Marcel, how does one get into multifamily? Again, it just starts with the desire. it starts with, in my case, it starts with the conversation, a conversation that happened. This has now been maybe close to 7 years, where Chrissy and I, my wife, and she's my go-to. She's my ride or die. She's my number one. And we dream together. We have goals together. And it was a conversation 7 years ago when, because I'm in a band, that's how I make a living. And Chrissy is actually a photographer. She's also a songwriter. She used to be in a group. Some of you guys may know the artist Pink, you know, the female artist Pink, pop artist. Well, my wife, Chrissy, if you go, there's archives on BET. My wife was in a group with Pink. So that's a little, thing many wouldn't know in this Zoom. But so she's very, very gifted. And as a matter of fact, we met in this town. We met in Nashville. But then Chrissy became a full-fledged photographer. She does mainly weddings. MagnifyYouPhotography.com, little shameless plug if you want to check out her stuff. But so just imagine a household of a musician and a photographer, right? And there's a blessing in the fact that we don't have to, clock in. We are our own bosses. But we were starting to have this conversation, Trevor, about, okay, especially with me as a musician, being in a band for almost 3 decades with my brothers, which that in and of itself is a feat, right? People say, hey, you don't want to go into business with your family. Well, I've done it. I've done it for, a long time. So our conversation was about, okay, before this music thing, before the wave completely dies, let's start looking at some other ideas, other streams. And so that conversation happened, and we were just saying, hey, let's keep an eye open, let's keep our ears open. We're just praying for direction. And shortly thereafter, it was early 2017, so a little over 5 years ago, when I found this platform online, and it looked like it was a pretty, I wouldn't say easy way, but it was a surefire way to create a new stream, supplemental income, and maybe it grow into something. And that's actually where I met our mentor, Carlos Salguero, because he was one of the managing partners. So I'll touch on those details throughout the night, but I would really say, family, that we all have our goals. We all have dreams. We all have reasons why we decided on this space of real estate, specifically with multifamily. But I think it's important for all of us, whether you've been in it for, a few weeks or maybe a few months, however long it's been, it's really important for us to identify what that goal is, what that desire is, because that's what's going to be the fuel, really the fuel that leads you into this journey. Because it's not this, overnight success, which we obviously know. It's not a get rich quick scheme. This is in my opinion, it is truly one of the best ways to create wealth. So it's a big task, right? So you've got to know why. I like what someone said, we talk about the why and the what, but it's really the how. It's the how that we want to figure out. And I love that, my brother Carlos Salguero, who I can go on, and I'd love to share my brotherhood with that brother, because he really has played a pivotal role in why I'm here today. How I went from, I'm still a musician, but I don't know if you all understand how the way, creatives, their minds work. It's very different to come into this space. But I was able to do it because I really just followed my dream. I really just followed this goal that I have to create legacy. It is wealth, but it's legacy. That's what I want to leave behind for my kids, for Jackson, Dylan, Haley, Riley, and Levi, and my beautiful wife, Chrissy. So that's in a nutshell, Marcel, that's where I would say if one wants to get into this space, and there's other things you can look into, but just identify what it is, why it's got to be more than the bag. Let me just say that and be clear about that. For me, it's got to be more than just, oh, I want to make money. There's a lot of ways to make money, but you got to know what your goal is. You got to know what your vision is. Again, if you're married, if you have a spouse, one thing that I highly encourage couples to do, and if you are the one who's getting into this space, share this vision. You don't have to share the details of multifamily, but share the vision, why you're doing this. It's for them and for your family. And I'll tell you, that's the quickest way to receive that support from your wife or your husband. So I'll just stop right there, Marcel.
I love that. And I would love to ask the group here, the community, who in here is actually fully clear on their why and on their purpose. Put a 1 in the chat if you are fully clear as to what's driving me. And I'm talking about not the bag, like James is talking. Who's clear? Amazing. I love it. See, this is why we're creating this room, right? This is why we're not shooting this out into the public, because I can see already we have purposeful and intentional people in the room here today that can share value to one another. Matter of fact, I think it's also important to point out that when it comes down to mission, vision, and goals, that there's 2 sides to it. One is your individual side for yourself, and this is not just focused on real estate, right? This is based on your life, right? And then there's a second one, and that's the mission, vision, and the goals of your team. Because it's always important that in multifamily real estate, and maybe this is something you can touch on too as well, James, this is a team sport. This is not an individual sport. This is something, so on the single family side, I encountered it's doable as a one-man show, totally doable, but it can become very frustrating. Let's put it that way. Now, on this side here, it's really a team sport, and this is why we have created this team here with my brothers in the room, Trevor, Charles, Victor. We all have different roles, and we come together on a weekly basis. We work together every day. And one thing that we talked about yesterday specifically was exactly that. What are our mission, vision, and goals as a group? And I think we got to a point where we feel confident in what direction we're running, but we're still at a point where we need to really iron out the details. And this is not something that you can put together in a 2-hour call. This is something where like freaking corporations go on a 1-week retreat to figure that out, and this is something that's so important that you really have to have that clear, and everybody has to be, keyword, aligned on it. There really needs to be alignment on it. And if there's no alignment, then the team is not going to work because you're working in different directions. So that's something that we as a group are working on as well. And I'm really excited about it. And we will share this in this room, maybe even as soon as next week. Let's see. I don't want to overpromise anything here, but we want to showcase what we do for us so you can see. Maybe that's something that works for you too, maybe not, but see somebody actually do it and showcase what our experience was throughout the process. But with that, maybe let me roll it back to you, James, and really touch on the teamwork aspect in multifamily real estate and the relationships that one needs to build.
And can I add to your question, Marcel?
Please, Trevor, you be one.
And James, I mean, we're the 9-to-5 guys, right? Us 4 guys, and I think a lot of us relate to that. At least a scenario where the majority of our time, energy, and resources and income stream are doing X, which is not multifamily real estate. And we understand that's your situation as well. And if you could just add some details as far as how you handle your responsibilities outside of the multifamily space and what you had in place, and I think this is where the teamwork factor comes in, what you have in place that has allowed you to be so successful in the multifamily space while still having all this other stuff going on.
Yeah, great question. And by the way, I just learned that fact that you played for the Longhorns. Dude, that's major, man. Y'all put a whooping on the Okies yesterday too.
We sure
I
did.
saw that, man.
The boys came with it yesterday.
Come on, that's
Yes,
awesome.
sir.
But yeah, so that's a great question, Marcel and Trevor, because you know there's another word that we all like to grab at, right? It's the word balance. You know, we're all looking for a balance. And while I was traveling, I don't know if any of you caught the. It was just a whole deal that Grant was doing, right, on creating wealth, and he had a guest on, and he posed that question to her. She's been very, very successful as an entrepreneur, and you know she's a young mom, she's married, but she's got this whole business empire that she's built over the years, and so she addressed that issue of balance, and she says, really, when you think of it. And I'm not quoting her, but she was saying that balance is really just a moment in time, and it's okay for us to strive to have a balance. But if you actually think about the visual, you know what a juggler is, right? When you're juggling things, that's actually what it looks like when we're trying to balance things. It doesn't actually look very smooth, if you understand what I'm saying. So I don't think it's really the goal should be having a balance, because and here's why I'm saying that, because sometimes in my case, as I was and I'm still very much a student, just like we all are in multifamily and becoming professional real estate investors, but in our pursuit to understand this and do it at a high level and understand what it means to be a part of a team. I love what Marcel said. This is very much a team sport. So when you are going at it, right, and depending where you're coming from, for me, I'm a musician. It's definitely not going to look balanced, okay? And I'm just speaking for myself. But here's where communication is going to be so important. Again, if you're a married guy like me, and I see a lot of our beautiful sisters here, whether you're married or single, just know that whatever it is you've committed to, in our case, becoming real estate investors, there's going to be a period of time when it's going to look pretty frazzled, and you have to be okay with it, because that's what it requires for the moment. So I feel like, in a sense, Marcel, to your question, in about the last 2 years that I've really committed to becoming a real estate investor and partnering with CS3. And when we first started, CS3 was literally just myself and Carlos, right? And we've grown our team slowly but surely. One of my partners is on here, the Wonder Kid. I'm trying to see if he's on here. Yeah, Brandon. Brandon's one of the newest members of the team. So it really is going to, and I don't know when it will be, but I will be very transparent with you that I'm creating structure, and maybe system is another word, to make sure that my top priority, and I'm not trying to come across religious or spiritual here, but my top priority is my family, right? So everything evolves around my wife and my kids. You know, I've traveled for many decades for a living. So imagine that commitment, and imagine that kind of communication that my wife and I, we had to be on the same page. Now, being on the same page, what we have literally bought into is that there's a lot of sacrifice, a lot of sacrifice of time, being away from each other, being away from my kids. And of course, now it's like I'm bringing in yet another layer, which is real estate investing. But I really believe that it is possible to have a structure to, you know, if you want to use balance there, you can get there as long as you're communicating. Communication is the key, because like I said, there are going to be moments, you know, like, was it a week ago? It was a very quick planned trip that Brandon and Carlos and I did because we identified some properties. But I made sure that I was having these constant conversations with Chrissy, just that sometimes that's what's going to happen, right? And she understands that it doesn't mean that it's going to be easy all the time, right? But we have the same vision. We're each other's cheerleader. We're on the same team, and I think that that's why, again, it's so important that if you are married or if you have a family that you represent, don't assume that they know what you're doing just because you're busy doing it. You know, let them in on the conversation. You know, again, not all the details, but just like my kids, they know why I do this because I've shared it with them when we're at the dinner table. To me, it's so important for them to understand just the drive that I have and what I'm getting myself into. So there's not at least I haven't found an exact formula, Marcel and Trevor, on how to go at it with all of these things on your plate. But just don't start taking things off of your plate because you think, oh, no, if these are passions of yours, for me personally, I believe that if God is giving me this desire, there's a passage, Psalm 37, you know, delight in him and he will grant you the desires of your heart. Those desires, those are like seeds. Those are big. That's a big deal. And you can't just, you know, start eliminating things just because you're trying to create balance. Instead, what I ask for is give me wisdom. Help me to communicate these things to my wife because they're not only important to me, but I'm doing it for her and for my children and for our legacy. So communication all throughout, because the more success you have, actually the more challenges you're going to have. It just comes with the territory. So I don't know that you're ever going to get to a place, family, where there's just this smooth, easy balance. You know, we're going to have to pivot sometimes because that's what it requires. And sometimes you're going to have to be flexible. You know, that's a huge thing in team concept. And because multifamily and being real estate investors, I mean, guys, you know, Marcel and the team that which I've been telling people about your story, what you guys have been able to accomplish in just a few short weeks. It's been phenomenal. But just know, right, that the more things that you accomplish, there's just going to be there's going to be even bigger challenges, and we don't run away from those. We don't run away from them. We just figure out. Okay, how do we address this? And that's what I love about this because I'm not doing this alone. I've got a guy by the name of Carlos Salguero, who's been not just a mentor, but someone that I could literally just text, call, and just pick his brain, even on family stuff, right? Know who you're working with. Know who you're working with, because in a sense, you're actually doing life with those people. And I know, you know, probably the right protocol would be to, oh, this is my work life and this is my family life. I don't want to separate it. But I feel like, you know, if I'm going to be working with people, I'm doing life with them. I'm building relationships. You know, this young man, Brandon Ford, that I've had the honor, this is a stellar human being. He's a gift. He's a gift to this community. But he and I, maybe he'll talk one of these days. But I love this young man like he's my own son. He's actually the same age as my oldest son, Jackson. So yeah, there's business that we're doing together. There's an empire. CS3 is building an empire. We're very focused on that, but we're building relationship along the way. So again, is there going to be a smooth balance as you move forward? It's going to be as smooth as it can be. Sometimes it's going to be a little rough. Sometimes you're going to be jumping over hurdles, but it just comes with the territory. I truly believe that when you are faced with obstacles and challenges, that's always a good sign. that you're doing something. It's always usually a sign that you're creating, that you're building. Okay, when you don't have a lot of problems, then maybe just things are a little too safe. In multifamily, it's a fun and exciting way to build legacy, to create wealth, but don't be afraid to have some obstacles. Brandon likes to put it this way: don't be afraid to get punched a few times. So.
Exactly, man. I love that, James. Guys, who got value from just that alone? Put some fires in the chat from just that alone. I mean, crazy, right? Let me see some fires. You guys can tell me. There we go. I was gonna say, come on, guys, you didn't get value from that? Hey,
Man,
two
James,
things.
James, I was eating that
Charlie,
up.
1
It's like
second.
I'm dealing
1
with that all
second.
day.
Yeah,
I love
man.
it. I'm glad I
Two
bumped into
things.
you at the Grant Cardone thing. You got me involved with Carlos, brother.
And
Love it.
and Charlie, we got the man of the hour in the house as well. Actually,
Oh, Carlos
you
is
know,
here.
we have another surprise guest here, guys,
Oh.
an
My
unannounced
God,
surprise
oh
guest.
my gosh.
An unannounced
No.
surprise guest, right? So that's another treat for everybody that showed up, regardless, just because of James, because James already has value 10x times 100x, right? So let me also give a big welcome here to our mentor, Carlos.
What's up, everybody? Good
Hey,
evening.
Carlos.
I love the shirt, Marcel.
That's a wrap, man.
Let's go, man. Let's go. We just
Man.
landed back in Denver not even 30 minutes ago, and my wife and kids are visiting the family. And I saw the ad for the Zoom earlier, so I'm like, man, I hope I get to jump on and say hi to people. We had a great weekend in El Paso. Somebody has a mic. Somebody has a mic that it's rubbing against something.
We'll mute him. Here we go.
There you go.
They're already dragging me out, but hey, I just wanted to tell you guys, keep doing what you're doing. Keep teaching people about multifamily. Keep getting together in rooms like this. In rooms like this is where I met James Katina. In rooms like this is where I've met people that have changed my life in so many ways. And the partnerships that are built, the friendships that are built, the lifelong relationships that are built in these rooms are invaluable. They're priceless. I mean, just to know that you, Marcel, met your team in our mentorship it's crazy, right? Because now you guys are buying a deal, and it's the first of many deals. 40-unit apartment complex that will then become a 50, 100, a 400, right? The sky's the limit. Now that you know the blueprint, all you have to do is to keep doing the things that got you there in the first place. And sometimes not all of us start in the same place. So be patient with yourselves, because some people need to first gain confidence to understand the concepts, to understand the terms, to understand the underwriting, to understand how to talk to brokers, right? Don't expect that your results need to be like somebody else's. As long as you're making daily progress, then you should be happy. Try to beat yesterday. That's all you have to do. Try to beat yesterday and hang out with people like Marcel and the team here that want you to win, right? Marcel, Charlie, Oscar, Joseph, KJ, all these people that want you to win, right? One of the things that these guys did right away is we told them, guys, go teach this stuff. And immediately they started doing a Sunday Zoom. They wanted to build a community. They wanted to build a power base. They wanted to build a group of people that could be just as excited as they are about the business. And that does two things. It not only blesses people, but it also keeps you accountable, right? Because now you get to declare to this new group of people, guess what, guys? This is what I'm after. This is what I'm going to pursue. I want 1,000 units next year. And now you have to go do it, because you don't want to disappoint your community. You don't want to disappoint your friends. So good job, guys. Keep doing what you're doing. Had an incredible weekend. Spent some time with family, spent some time walking units with some guys in El Paso. We have a couple very, very cool offers this week that should turn into deals. And I can't wait to tell you guys, right? Because it's just about that. If we win, you win. If Marcel wins, you win. Be happy about winning. I've been reading again. I've been reading again a book called The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Pick it up if you guys, this book should be something that should be studied by everybody, because you don't even know sometimes what's holding you back, right? It's called The Secret of the Millionaire Mind. It's a short book. If you read it, it's a short audible if you listen to it. But if you study the book, it will tell you so many things that sometimes we do wrong, right? And one of those things is that when we see people succeed, we actually feel like we're being left behind instead of being happy for them to succeed, right? When you celebrate other people's success, you win and you elevate yourself to the next level. So, man, so excited to be here tonight. Great job with those 40 units. It's just the beginning. You're going to close more deals. But if you close that deal this year, it's going to be a milestone, right? It's going to be a milestone that's going to set the direction and trajectory for next year. And I hope all of you guys here in Zoom that are excited about multifamily, that are excited about learning this business, continue to plug in here, guys, because these guys are for real. These guys want to show you how to win.
Exactly.
Brother.
Appreciate you guys.
I appreciate you joining.
You need to write,
Just wanted to join and say hi.
Carlos, you need to write a book, The Secrets of the Billionaire Mind, in a couple
That's
of
right.
years. That's what you're going to be doing.
That's right.
That
Love you,
was a message alone from James here. Always think bigger, right?
Yeah.
Bigger.
He's the man.
I love it.
That man right there. Love you, bro.
Thank you,
Love you
Carlos.
guys.
Thanks for the
Have an amazing night.
Amazing
Thanks,
night.
Carlos.
Yeah.
Have a great night.
Yeah.
guys. And exactly that's we're gonna be closing that deal this year, and the goal is rinse and repeat, right? All the lessons we've learned. I tell you, just in that deal, how many times I got kicked in the face, kicked in the teeth by different kind of stakeholders, man.
Wow.
I got ripped apart by people, but you gotta fail forward. You know, you gotta fail forward. You gotta get it done.
Yeah.
And the goal for us is now we have 40 check.
Yeah.
For us it was in 15 weeks we started this mentorship. We said we want to get 40 units done during that time. Doesn't mean close, but get it done, right? Check.
Yeah.
Let's get it done, and then we move forward with more. And this is where we want to take everybody that we can inspire to join us along the journey, to take them with us. Let's do deals together, guys. It's not about the four of us, the individual. It's about the community. Let's reach our goal, and we'll be sharing that goal here. We touched on this earlier a little bit. We'll be sharing that goal here very, very soon in the next week or two. And we want to take all of you along with it as partners in these deals.
Marcel, can I just touch on that? I'm glad you mentioned it, and I'm glad that that Carlos acknowledged just what you and the group is doing, because precisely, right, this room, again, this is why these rooms were formed and created. And so I know many of the names and faces on here, but there's some that I'm just meeting for the first time. Ella Ray, good to see you. Toy Nguyen, good to see you. Lynn, good to see you. And so if you are here and you are interested, and you are very interested in learning and understanding more about this space, about the multifamily and how to become a professional real estate investor, I really don't think there's a better way to learn it than being in the room with people who are actively in pursuit. The story of my friend Sophie Bernard, just again, this is proof, the proof of concept, right? This is proof that any one of us, right, if we identify what our goals are, and we create massive action, we commit to a mentor, and then really plug into a community that is really, I think Carlos said it, right? We've got to be willing to cheer each other on. You know, we want the best for each other, because this is truly what win-win means, right? when a group wins or one individual wins or someone, I love that you guys start off with the wins, Trevor, when you were being inspired by each other. I had a awesome couple of days ago. I got to hang out with some partners of mine, and they're here, Quez and Avalisa, who are like family to me. But they are committed to their goals, to the legacy that they have for their 3 boys. But they are diving into this space. And you know, we had lunch together, but we were just pouring into each other. You will understand, and these guys have proven it, right? In less than 15 weeks, you're going to figure out all of the technical parts, the moving parts of how to find a deal, how to analyze, how to underwrite a deal. You're gonna learn very quickly the skills of how to connect and engage with a broker. You know, how to identify who the active brokers are. All of that is going to come, right? As long as you commit. But the thing that you can't really teach, right, is getting with other people and understanding the importance of seeing how other people move and what they're doing. And what has helped me, whether it's being with someone like a Carlos Salguero or other people that I've met in the 10X room, in other places like this, you know, Keston, that guy has inspired me. That's what happens. You're going to receive inspiration from other people because of their journey, because of their successes, and believe it or not, because of their failures as well, right? The stories are very, very important. And what happens is it expedites the process for you and I, just because I'm gleaning from other people. I'm drawing from their experiences, again, their successes, but even their failures. Oftentimes, I learn a lot from other people's failures on what not to do. So I just had to say that, because it's really important to just continue to dive into these rooms. Mentorship is a huge thing. You know, we can touch on that, but that's really, really important, because you don't want to go it alone. You know, success, it's got to be a journey that you jump on the bus, you jump on the train with other people. And again, you're not having to figure it out on your own. You don't need to. You don't need to. Good to see my brother, Danny Masse. Love you, man. And this is what a great thing you guys have created here.
Yeah. James, I do have a question for you, man, if you don't mind. As you mentioned how Carlos has helped you out with the multifamily. I just wonder, could you elaborate a little more on how specifically Carlos has helped you out in getting into this?
Yeah, no, great question, Charles. I would say, and this may not happen this way or this order for everyone, but you know, he and I built a relationship, you know, because of another business opportunity that he started with some other partners. It was an online platform. I kind of mentioned that. And basically I dove into this thing. It had a network marketing component. I've never been in network marketing, but there was just something very unique and simple that I was able to connect the dots. And all that to say, long story short, Charles, I became the top performer in this thing. You know, even Carlos and his partners, they were actually participating in this profit sharing platform, and I beat all of them. I just and Carlos was like, well, what networking school did you go to? I said, where are the networking schools? I've never been a part of this, but I love people, and I'm comfortable with just sharing an idea, sharing something. In this case, there were a couple of supplemental products, you know, and I just built this thing over time. And in a year and a half, I was the top producer of this thing. And there were very, very sharp professional network marketers there. So that's how Carlos and I connected. He noticed me, and when he paid attention to me, I thought that was a huge deal, that this is the guy who was one of the creators of this thing. And so he literally just took me under his wings. And that's really where the mentorship started, because I just started asking questions like crazy. I mean, I'm sure they were, you know, some dumb questions too, but he took the time. He took the time. And I remember one weekend in particular, Charles, when he noticed, because, you know, he sees all of the accounting and all of, you know, what people are making and how many people are under this person. And he noticed that I hadn't taken any money out of this online account. I mean, it was just stacking up. It was a pretty good amount. And he was like, "Hey, bro, what are you doing? Like, what are you going to do with that money? It's just, you know, it's still in there, right?" I said, "Oh yeah, I'm, you know, I haven't figured it out yet. Maybe invest, you know." And then I did. I said, "Do you have any thoughts for me?" And he said, "You know what? You need to let's get into some real estate together." And I was like, "Yeah, cool. That sounds good. I don't know where to start, what my entry level is, but I did." And before you knew it, just kind of like he was talking about that book, The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind, that he's reading, he started sending me book titles. He said, "Hey, check out the ABCs of real estate investing, and Rich Dad, Poor Dad." And there was a list of books that he started sending my way. And that began this frequent conversation between Carlos and myself just on real estate. Okay, not necessarily multifamily, but it was really just on real estate. And before you knew it, it was February of 2021. So just keep the timeline in place, right, guys? This was not like 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. This was less than 2 years ago. It was February of 2021 when I told him, "Hey, can I fly out to Denver? That's where Carlos is. And I just want to spend a couple of days with you." So I said, yeah, we marked off a weekend in February, and I flew out there. And to be honest, we didn't even talk a whole lot about strategy per se, but we just talked about family. We were really getting to know each other even more, talked about our ideas, talked about faith, talked about just our goals, you know, what Chrissy and I want to do. He was telling me, you know, some things that he and Myra talk about for 2 whole days. But before I left, flew back to Nashville, he gave me some ideas. And one of the ideas, right, and that this may or may not be anything that'll help you, but he told me a couple of things. He says, it'd be wise for you to set up an LLC, you know, just start getting your business structure together. And then he said, "Now you own your home, right?" And I said, yeah. I've been in my home for, you know, at this point, it's been over 15 years. And Carlos has been to my house, and he said, "Well, I can imagine you probably have a lot of equity in that house." And I said, "Yeah, I do." And he says, "But you know, look at it like all that money is it's imprisoned, right? It's just in there, but it's not producing anything." So long story short, family, he said, "Hey, with the money that you've stacked up from this business venture, let's go get a fourplex, right? But think about pulling some of that equity out of your house, because I think, you know, we're gonna get into to more than just one property." And I remembered that, because up to this point, I'll tell you, family, I've never pulled any money out of my house, right? And I'm just answering your question, Charles. That's really how this whole journey started with Carlos and I. We partner up and we bought a fourplex in Milwaukee, sight unseen, by the way. We didn't even see the place. We saw it online, and we saw that it had 4 tenants, and we looked at the numbers, and it was like, wow, this is a cash cow, right? Made an offer on it and we bought it. And then like a few weeks later, we did go, we flew to Milwaukee and verified that it was an actual property. And so that was cool. Out of that, I would say maybe a month later, and I'm just kind of condensing this. But that's when Carlos and we flew to Miami to be a part of the first real estate summit that Grant Cardone put on. I was home on a weekend, which was pretty rare. And I think it was on Instagram. And I see Grant, he's like, hey, come and hang out with me for like 60 to 90 minutes. I'm going to talk about real estate. And at that point, you know, real estate, that term was, you know, the idea of heightened awareness. Anytime I hear real estate, I'm like, oh man, let me see what he has to say about it. Well, I jump on, they had a link and it went to his website, and it wasn't 60 minutes. It wasn't even 90 minutes. It was 4 hours long. And I was glued to every word that this dude was saying, because what he was saying, number one, I've never heard before. And I couldn't believe that what he was saying is a real situation, and how you can create wealth with, he talks about just that one deal, right? And all I remember is, while I'm just glued to the screen of my laptop, he was saying, hey, come hang out with me for 3 days in Miami, and I'm going to teach this stuff. I'm going to break it down to you. You know, I'm going to show you how I went from 0 to, at the time, over 10,000 units in his portfolio. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, it's like drinking from a fire hydrant. I pick up the phone and I'm talking to a salesperson, and all I remember, Ashley, is I'm purchasing 2 VIP tickets. I don't even think I heard what the amount was. I just said, I'll get the 2 VIP tickets, which were each $2,500 each. I didn't tell my wife till later, right? Purchased them, and the first guy I called was Carlos. I was like, bro, I hope you don't have anything planned at the end of July, but because we're gonna go see Grant. And he's like, oh, that's awesome. And it was the end of July when we took a trip to Miami, 3-day summit, 2,500 people in there. And that was a game changer, literally a game changer, Charles, because we went from purchasing a 4-plex to leaving that summit. And within 2 weeks, Carlos calls me and he said he found this deal in a place that was 30 minutes from me called Murfreesboro. And that next day I drove to verify it, and the history really of CS3 began, right? Again, but it all goes down to, you know, me and Carlos, him allowing me to come and sit with him at his home in Denver. And just to, I needed some help to understand what I was going to do, right? Because I've been making my money, and I've been enjoying this living that God's allowed me to do, playing music. But I knew that I wasn't going to wait till the wave completely died and then figure out the next move. So all I knew to do was, hey, reach out to my mentor. He's my counselor, and just pick his brain. I'm not even sure what questions I was asking per se, but he knew that I was starting to really think about the next steps, the future. And you may not get all of, you know, it may not be a list of things, because really it starts in here. As long as you know that there's something that's stirring you. You're not coming into multifamily just because you heard someone else succeed and it's like, oh, that's a good idea. No, you've got to know what it is that you desire. Okay, now it may be an inspiration from another person, but once you get into this space, family, this works, but it only works if you work. Okay, it only works if you're committed. It only works if this is truly something that stirs you. It only works if this is something that keeps you up at night. It only works if you're willing to collaborate with other people. Because if you're wanting this to work based on your terms, then you're probably going to have a rude awakening. This requires you to really be a student, okay? Because while it is simple, there are some things that we've got to learn along the way. And one of them is to really embrace the idea that this is a people space. This is a people space. One of the most renowned network marketers in the world is a gentleman by the name of Eric Worre. And I don't know if any of you have heard of him, but Eric Worre, he tells his story that he's an actual introvert. He's not a people person, but there was something that stirred him to get into network marketing because he saw something, and it might have been inspired from some other network marketer. Well, Eric Worre, he literally said, you know what, that's what I want to do. That's what I need to do. I think it makes sense. This is how I'm going to create wealth. But he had to figure out how to embrace the idea of, you know what, this is a people game. This is a people game. Again, I'm not saying that we have to be each other's best friend but you have to be willing to learn this, just like confidence. I think I shared it with the group over the weekend. Confidence is not a trait. Confidence is a skill. What does that mean? You have to learn this. You have to get better and better at it, right? Because if something requires confidence, then you have to build that up. It's like a muscle. It's like working out. Endurance doesn't just come just because you want it. No, you've got it. Trevor knows that as an athlete. You have to do certain regimens, certain repetitions, certain things to get you to that place. And so to just, put a bow on it, Charles, it all started when I reached out to Carlos when he said, hey, maybe real estate investing is where, you can put some of this money, and let's start learning that space. I just got really serious. And the way that I got serious was, number one, I said, okay, I don't know a freaking thing about it, but I'm going to absorb it. I'm going to be like a sponge and learn this game and be a student. And that's one thing, right? As far as being a student, you remain a student, because the more you remain a student, you are actually going to be one of the leaders, like the Trevors, like the Marcels, the Victors, the Charles in the room. Sophie is a bona fide leader because she's proving it with her actions. But the way you do it is you just absorb the information, lean on other people. You don't have to feel like you have to know everything. I always love going in a room because you know why? I am the least smartest in a room, and I'm very comfortable with that. But one thing that I am good at is I learn from people. I'm an observer. I study people. And I get more and more comfortable when I have to go into a room. And I'll end with this story. This happened when we were really getting close to winning the Gateway. Okay, this was just a year ago. And I remember Carlos and I were on the phone 3-4 times a day. This was before anyone else was in our group. And I'm just listening because, he's saying stuff and he's not really talking to me, but his mind is going, right? And I'm hearing him say, yeah, so yeah, my attorney's not going to work. I think we're going to need an attorney in Tennessee. I just remembered him saying that. When we hung up, I was like, man, where do we find an attorney for like apartments? I would think I said it like that. And then I thought of the one person that I thought of was my cousin, who's a judge here in Tennessee. I literally just picked up the phone and said, hey, Pele, you probably don't know this, but I'm starting to get into real estate. And she's like, really? Like what? I said, oh, I've got a partner and we're looking at maybe buying an apartment. And I think she laughed because she's like, wait, what? So all that to say is Pele connected me with Walt, who is our attorney to this day. And I know that many of you use Walt. He's the, and this is not just a bias statement, but he is the best multifamily commercial real estate attorney in the Southeast region, which covers, a huge gamut. Has worked with so many people in their portfolios, but that's what I'm saying, right? Because I'm bringing up that story, family, because that's really what it means to just be like a sponge, just pay attention, and you don't know how you can be useful in the process, right? You just never know. But if you listen enough, intently, and I think Marcel, someone said it, right? It's not just capital. Yes, you need some capital, that's fine, but you actually don't really need capital. You just need activity. You need sweat equity. Like if you can master that, the capital is kind of like the icing on the cake. But if you get in and if you say, man, I'm gonna be boots on the ground. I'm gonna go and see what I need to do. I was the one who got the crumble cookies for Mr. Swanson, to win him over. And family, like, these might seem like insignificant things, but in the process, it shows up. And for me, I knew that Carlos was going to be the driver in what we've set out to do. I knew that. And my simple mind said, man, I need to make sure that I'm adding value to Carlos. Like, how can I help? What can I do? And sometimes it was just listening to the conversations, listening to what he was saying, and then just act. You're not gonna, all of the moves that you and I make aren't always gonna be the right ones. They're not always gonna be perfect. As a matter of fact, the first few, you're gonna fumble, you're gonna mess up, but just embrace that. Don't worry about it. Okay, it's really the activity that's the most important thing. And sometimes the first round of activities just look all jacked up, but it's okay. It's okay, because we're just getting our training. One of Carlos's and our philosophy is we learn on the go. People ask us, how do you do this? I don't know. We're figuring it out as we go. He kind of touched on it. Brandon and I have been working together, and we are close to I believe we're going to win 2 deals here in the next week or so. We've already handed in our offers. These are A-class deals. Like, to think how far my journey has come in a year's time, to where when we win those 2, my portfolio will be 500 units in a year's time. This is a coconut head Samoan kid who was just playing music, and now is a part of a team of professional real estate investors. And now our community is expanding and growing, not because we're perfect. It's not because we're perfect, and we will never be perfect, but it's because we're focused and we have a desire to help people along the way. So Charles, I hope I answered your question, but just know that it's not a perfect science. It's just one of many stories that we hear, right? And that's what we're doing. We're all creating our stories, because your story is going to impact someone else as they're coming into the game.
Exactly. You're a role model, James Katina. You're a role model. And matter of fact, one thing you pointed out with Walt, with your attorney, and the struggle you had in finding Walt. Here's a nugget that we have found by following, or by having a mentor, by following role models such as James, is for our deal, we didn't have that struggle because we had people like James. We had people like Carlos that led the way, that walked the walk. And for me, it was a simple question as to, what's your attorney's number? That's it. And now we're working with Walt on our deal to get it closed. Simple as that, right? Do you want to figure it out on your own, or do you just legitimately, I mean, you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? Just be in the right rooms and be connected to the right people. And you can learn, obviously, from, like you said earlier, James, the way you not do things or the way you do things, right? From this experience from others. So great point on that. And I would love to also, since we're coming towards the end of our Zoom here tonight, I would love to open it up to a little bit of a Q&A, because I want to encourage all of you guys. You know, I mean, 12 weeks ago, I was the guy that would not unmute on a Zoom like this, just FYI. Yeah, I would listen, I'd be a sponge, you know, but I wouldn't be the one that unmutes. When I started in this mentorship and understood the people in the room and got feedback from everybody, you know, James, Carlos, even Keston, I unmuted every single time and asked a question, because I wanted also to be known. I wanted these guys to know me. And I encourage you guys to utilize this opportunity today to get FaceTime and one-to-one even with somebody like James Katina. But before I open it up to the Q&A, I want to ask you guys, how much value do you guys see in us bringing a guest from our immediate network, such as James Katina tonight? How much value is that for you guys today? Put ones in the chat or fires in the chat if you feel like, guys, do this more often. Bring the James Katinas on Sunday night into a room like this, so we can really experience or gain value from their experience and get FaceTime also. Ask direct questions, get their full attention. Amazing. Love it. So I hope you would say that, guys. And I already had some background discussions on this with some people that I think would add tremendous value here too. And since we're not just an accountability Zoom, but also an underwriting Zoom, I had a discussion with somebody that's actually here in the meeting today already, about coming to our Zoom and sharing tremendous value on the actual underwriting part, on the actual nitty-gritty. And this is Mr. Brandon Ford, who's already here, who's actually, I mean, hand in hand with James walking deals right now and doing all the underwriting for Carlos, for our mentor, lead underwriter. Basically, our Victor and our team, that's Brandon in the CS3 team. And Brandon, you can unmute yourself here for a second just to say hi. But we did get Brandon's commitment here to join us next Sunday as well.
What's up, guys? How are you?
Let me just say this real quick. Like, y'all do not want to miss. Is that next week you said, Marcel?
Next week.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Like, you want to be here next week. This young man, I was gonna say this kid, this young man is a freak of nature. And Marcel said it right. He's a blessing to not just to CS3, but to this community. So I'm glad that you guys are going to do that next week. So good.
Brandon's the best in the business. How you guys doing, Marcel? I wanted to give a shout out to you guys. This is fantastic. What's going on?
Thanks for joining, brother. Excited to see you. I saw you dial in, man. I was excited.
James, great job, brother.
Love you, my guy.
Brandon, anything you want to tell everybody what we can expect next Sunday?
Well, first, I wanna give a shout out to you and your team and what you guys have done. What you guys have done is just incredible. But more importantly, is you guys invested in a mentor, did the mentorship, you learned, and something I want to add to, the learning never stops. But you guys were committed to each other to figure things out, and that's why you guys just had the success you did. And it's honestly inspiring. And that's another thing I want to say about James and like Carlos and them. I mean, they just changed my life. I've been looking for someone to lean towards for the past 2 to 3 years. Like, I've been trying to do it by myself. It's not possible. I would like to sit here and say, James, we work so well together because we have different skill sets and we complement each other. But it was more from the beginning where we communicate was, hey, I don't know everything, but I'm going to give it my all every single day. You said the same thing. We made a commitment to figure things out and to be committed to each other. It doesn't matter how many punches we take. We could take 20 to 30, and we have, but I'm not going to go into details about that, but it's just about looking for the next win, and just keep going and being persistent with it. And when you do, great things happen. And the worst thing you could do, honestly, is jump into this and give up, because I think that's like the one thing with most people is these mentorships, they do cost money, whatever, but the main reason people don't get into it's not because of the money. It's a belief and confidence issue. They don't believe these things are possible. And I think that's like the most important thing you could do is before jumping right into real estate, invest in yourself, self-development, help yourself first so you could go help other people, because there's greatness in everyone within this room, but you have to start within first before you want to go into this journey. And that's all I want to share for now.
Amazing. I'm so excited to have you, Brandon. This is gonna be incredible, just like tonight already. And guys, if you want a reminder for that, to be in the room, to not forget, there's a couple options. Trevor, Charles, and Victor, please put your Instagram handle into the chat. I'll put mine in there too. You can message us with your contacts, cell phone, email, or just simply put your cell phone email here in the chat, and we'll save it, and we'll make sure that you get informed. Just like everybody that's currently part of the mentorship, we always send out reminders for these Zooms. So if you want to be part of these, and don't forget, contact us or put your contacts in here, and we make sure that you guys won't forget or won't miss it, the tremendous value that Brandon will add next week here. So with that, we're already over, guys, but whatever. I don't want to cut us loose here without giving at least 2 or 3 guys in here the chance to ask a question one-to-one to our role model here, really, James Katina. And I see the first one here is Andrea. Andrea, why don't you unmute yourself and fire away?
Hey, thanks so much for hosting this, guys. You had so much value, and I swear it is the rooms that you're surrounded in.
Amazing. Thank you.
I guess I want to ask James, with your role with Carlos and how you built those relationships. It's all about relationships for sure in multifamily, and just the mentorship that you gain. I had an amazing mentor who taught me how to do pro formas and underwriting, and she will always be emblazoned in my brain. So I just don't want to let go of those relationships. But do you work more with the capital raising with the multifamily business you're in, or do you do underwriting? I mean, what do you feel is your superpower, James?
First of all, Andrea, you look like my cousin. You do. You look like we're family. Good to see you.
Familia.
Yes. Yeah, great question. You know, I think it is important, and I love the way you pose that question, because you are working as a part of a team. In our case, CS3 Investments. My strength is, and I touch on it a little bit, it is people, right? So while I never raised capital before for anything, when we started, you know, talking about our deal, starting with the gateway, I actually enjoyed sharing the story of these deals, and along the way, just really learned how to just raise capital. Really honed in on my message, and with capital raising, Andrea, and for all of us, I tell people all the time, you're not asking people for money, right? You're giving an opportunity, right? With capital raising, you're not asking people for money, because I see people making that mistake. You're actually, you're giving an opportunity based on a beautiful asset that happens to be a cash flowing business that you have an opportunity to invest in. Is that something that that you would like to be a part of? You know, is the timing right for you? So that's that is one of my strengths. Underwriting is definitely not a strength of mine, and I don't mind. Like, I'm glad that we've got a wonder kid that does that for us. But here recently, right? So I'm fortunate that I'm a GP in all of our deals with CS3, just because of, you know, other things that I contributed to, sweat equity. I'm an LP in all of our deals, and you don't have to be a limited part, you know, a passive investor in your deal, but I kind of just like the idea of having skin in the game, so to speak. So I invest my own money in our deals as long as I'm able to do that. And then on the GP side as well. And that looks different, right? I have a different stake percentage, a GP in the
Hey, what's
gateway
good,
deal than
everybody?
I
We
do.
are on fire tonight with our
Then-
special guest, James Katina.
Yeah, let's go, Trevor. Boom.
Yes.
Let's go. Let's go.
So you said you're a
but,
GP and an LP, right?
yeah, so I'm a general partner and I'm an LP. I was saying my stake as a GP in the gateway is a different percentage than it is on the other deals, right? Just because of whatever I contributed, it's going to look differently. The next phase that I'm into right now, and this is where Brandon and I have been working together as in tandem, really, is really looking for deals myself. You know, identifying deals in certain markets that I feel like I'm strong in, and I've got some relationships in. And as you know, or if anyone doesn't know this, when you're looking for deals, one of the things that I'm getting better at, I should say, there's always room for improvement, but it's identifying the active brokers in a market, right? Really, and that takes time, right? Because you've got to know which shops, which broker houses are really you know, doing a lot of the work in certain markets. So
So true.
yeah, and so I won't go into any details, but I really believe we're really close to 2 deals, winning 2 deals. And so I'm excited because that's the next phase, you know, part of the acquisition of a property. And, you know, there's other incentives that come with that. So I'm excited for you, Andrea. If I can ask you, have you invested in any deals, either as an LP
Yes.
or a yeah?
Yeah. So I'm a partner in about 8 deals. 2 of them are under contract, and
Wow.
it's just through my work that I've done for 5 years. So now
Wow.
I'm branching out to do market rate properties
Okay.
with my own syndications, and I'm just looking for people who want to partner up and find the
For
deals and
sure.
bring the money, and I can help with underwriting.
That
Yeah.
is awesome. Have
And
you
the due
have you been
diligence
in
process.
have you been in this Zoom before?
Yeah, I've been
Yeah.
in Marcel's
Okay.
invited me and
That's
a few other
awesome.
people along the way, and it's amazing to be invited to these groups. You guys add so much
Well, we've got to
value,
do
and
some
you're
deals
bringing me
together.
out of my shell.
Yes. Well, great to meet you.
Crack that shell. You guys crack that
Yes.
shell to bring
Let's
people out of
go.
there and add value
Sure.
and, you know, make dreams come true, because it's amazing when
Absolutely.
you can see $60,000 distribution checks come through, and
Yes.
you know, this is not fake. This is real money. So it's just making an impact with that money and how you give back. So thank you for coming on.
Thank you, Andrea.
Here's your
Great
why,
to meet you.
exactly. Man, James, I feel like in a few weeks or so, we need to bring you back. You know, there's.
Oh, bro, I'm, you know, I'm usually, you know, on the road on Sundays, but man, I want to jump in here as much as often, just to even listen in and just
Amazing.
again,
We-
just being a part of the community.
We have to
so
do
much
it, man.
value
And
in
we need to make sure everybody in here brings a friend. Just how we get you guys in front of
Yes.
James, you should do the favor to your network and bring him in front of somebody like James as well.
Let's do it.
So share that value with it's about the people, right? Share that value with your network as well. And we have 3 more people that have their hand raised. Guys, let's do it this way. Raise your hand now, and then we make sure we get to your comment to your questions. But after that, that's going to be the last questions, because we're already 12 minutes over. Trevor had to bounce already, or he'll be in trouble with his family. Matter of fact, going back to
That's
the
awesome.
alignment within the family, right?
There you
So let's cover these next 3 questions here, unless somebody else raises their hand as well within the next minute, and then we conclude here. But let's jump over to our brother Oscar. I'm really excited for you to unmute, bro.
Brother Oscar.
Hey, what's up, guys? Trevor, Marcel, Victor, Dr. Charles, and the man, the myth, the legend himself, James Katina.
Oscar, good
What's
to
up,
see you,
brother?
bro.
Good to see you, man. Thank you guys for running the Zoom. I can't stress enough, and you've said it already. Be in the right rooms, and these guys are doing the right stuff, man. They're adding so much value. I really didn't have a question. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone here. These guys are always putting it up every Sunday, adding value. And one of the things that I want to just say is, Brother James, you were one of the reasons why our deals, when we pitched that deal, I don't know if you remember, about 2 weekends ago, to you and Carlos, man, you had said some stuff in there that was so powerful in regards to when you look for a deal and you structure it, you want to make sure you take care of your investors. And that was key, brother.
Wow.
It was key because that opened up our eyes to really, really serve our investors and make sure we treat them right.
So good.
Brother, I want to say thank you for that because you have changed our mindset and to now really serve people instead of us looking for that deal that just makes sense for us. We want to make sure we serve others. And I want to say thank you guys. Make sure you put some fires in the chat for my brother James. He is changing lives and this man is amazing.
Thank you, Oscar.
So, thank you,
Man,
brother.
appreciate that. Well, again, you know, that's why the value, right? The value of iron sharpens iron. When you're in a community and we're for each other, you know, you never know what your input may bring to a situation. And I listen, I'm just grateful that I am witnessing just what you all are doing, not just for this. I mean, what a testimony in and of itself. You know, in less than 12 weeks, being a part of this mentorship, never, you know, doing something together as a group and taking down a multi-million-dollar 40-unit deal. I mean, that's props. There's a chapter in someone's book on that story right there. And so I'm grateful that I'm just witnessing it. Really appreciate you, Oscar.
For sure. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. Oscar and I are in daily touch here when it comes to this deal. It takes a lot and it's such a great learning lesson.
Yeah.
And then the best part is you always have people like James, you know, our mentor Carlos, to lean on when the two of us are on the phone and be like, man, I don't know. Do you? I don't know, man. I'm not sure. Well, how do we figure this out now? You know, let's just talk to Carlos. Let's just talk to James. You know, it's an easy way out. I hate to use the word easy because it's really I don't like easy.
Yeah.
But in this case, it's let's call it accelerating.
So
Accelerating.
Good. Yeah.
Right. Brother, thank you for joining and thanks for sharing, Oscar. And with that, let me quickly, I know that we have somebody that has had an issue to raise the hand. So Danny, why don't you quickly unmute yourself and share the comment you've been speaking about?
You guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. This is just a comment. So before everybody kind of leaves, but this is with regards to my brother James. You know, everybody, when you get into these rooms, you want to be able to find a valuable information that you can take with you and that will last forever. And I think what everybody's kind of looking for, you know, everybody does the 9 to 5. I've done the 9 to 5 for 40 something years. But you also in the process of making deals. There's a certain quality that James has. And what I've learned from James is that, you know, even with spending time with family or even negotiating deals, I think the one thing that we can all agree to for those who have met James is that the brother is present. That when you're having a conversation with James, nothing else matters but just the person that you're communicating with. The Gateway deal, think about it. A seed was planted, but yet you have other people who are trying to negotiate who probably are a lot more liquid than CS3. But I think what these guys have planted was a seed that can't be touched. You know, there's a saying, there are no second chances for a first impression, right?
Wow.
So when you go into negotiating deals or when you're having a simple conversation, I think it's important to do what James has done and what everybody's trying to figure out. how does this guy develop relationships?
Hmm.
A lot of it has to do with him being present in the moment. And he'll say that. He goes, be present in the moment. Well, what good is to carry a conversation or even to negotiate a deal if you're not present in the moment?
Wow.
So if you want to leave with something today and learn from James, just understand how, ask this question, how does he develops these relationships? How does he, Trevor asked the question, he goes, well, how do you balance out this life between being a real estate investor versus being, doing your regular 9 to 5?
Yeah.
He makes it a point to not only be present in his real estate investment, but he also makes it a point to be present with his family.
Mm.
Whether it be 5 minutes, 10 minutes with his family, those 5 minutes are a lifetime that can never be forgotten with his family. So when he even communicates on Clubhouse or even with Zooms, what does he always say? Family, family. So if you're looking to be part of something, this is not your 9 to 5 job. What Marcel, what Charles, what Victor, and what Trevor have put together is a culture that cannot be touched. So I'll leave you guys with that, because that's what I get out of my brother. He makes sure that he's present. So as you go out and try to figure out these deals, because think about it, even when you guys landed the 40-unit deal, there was something that obviously that resonated with the owner to be able to secure that deal. Yeah, you can negotiate all you want, but he saw something in you guys that he put his trust in. You know what? I like these guys. Let me run with these guys. But thank you, Marcel. I do appreciate the time. And I appreciate, you guys are doing a phenomenal job.
Yes.
I appreciate that, man.
All right.
We couldn't do it with anybody in this room. You guys are all part of the pack. We're one of you guys. Your guys are one of us. It's not about us. It's about the group. We're just the ones that share the link. That's really what it is.
Love it. I love it.
Thank you, brother.
Just like Marcel's saying, James, this is family, and we're here to help people. Danny, I love that. It's awesome. When I met James for the first time in Miami at a Grant Cardone real estate summit, it was like when I was talking to him, I was the only person in the world for them 5 minutes that we had. It was amazing. James, you're awesome.
Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you, Danny. Love you, bro.
All righty, let's get to the next one. I put in the chat, guys. We finished with Joel, but we got 4 more hands here. I don't want to cut you guys loose.
Yeah,
I mean, this is just
Let's
too
go.
amazing here. Peter, you up next, brother.
Thanks, Marcel. Awesome to be here. It's fun to watch. I think you and I met back in July.
Yes,
We've been
sir.
in many Zoom calls together since then. And James, I think you've been on pretty much every one of those, but thanks for being here tonight. And the question I have for you is, obviously you talk about, you got to be consistent, right? But for somebody brand new, consistently doing what, right? What's the most important thing for somebody who has no deals in the pipeline? What's the most important thing for them to be doing every day?
Great question, Peter. Consistently being in the room. And I'll actually be more specific. I don't know what your level of interest is. I don't want to assume. I mean, obviously you're here, but if you're going to reap the rewards of what I believe is the best wealth creator, multifamily, being a professional real estate investor, you've got to get the information, right? So you have to consistently plug in to where the information is. I believe in mentorship. I believe in what my mentor, but my partner Carlos is doing a phenomenal 15-week mentorship program. That's where Marcel, Trevor, Victor, I mean, this whole group, many of them have consistently committed to the investment into themselves, but in what way? By getting mentored. The mentorship program literally breaks down the ABCs and all the way to the Zs of becoming a professional real estate investor. So again, I don't know your story. I don't know what your level of interest is, Peter, but that's what I'm talking about. Being really consistent, because you're gonna find out that this is actually a lot, at least for me, it was a lot more simple than what I thought it to be. I just thought it was going to be way complicated, that this space, and even just creating wealth, to be quite honest, Peter, I just thought that, well, no, that's just for this certain group of people. And the reality is, I just knew that that's what I wanted. And I just decided, you know what, I've got to commit to getting into the rooms, you know, and investing, even investing money and time to really learning how to do this, and learning what it means to be a part of a team. And that when I find my people, when I find the people that I can collaborate with and really start going after these deals and learning how to analyze deals, underwrite deals, talk to brokers, lenders, the whole nine. You're not going to be able to do that effectively just by watching some YouTube videos. So that's where you consistently have to really commit to. Hopefully that helps, Peter.
Yeah, thanks, James.
You got it.
Amazing. All right, next one up here, we got Marquez and Avalisa.
Yes.
Hey, hey, thanks, guys. Hey, Marcel, Trevor, Charles, Victor, always a pleasure hearing from you guys, man. All the knowledge that you guys are able to share with the team. It's really good to be in this room with like-minded people that are pushing each other to reach their goals. So definitely appreciate you guys putting this on. Truly an inspiration. Brother James, always fire when you talk, man. It's amazing to hear you, via video, but also, people that have an opportunity to talk and be in fellowship with you in person. It's that much more amazing, right? I mean, people don't understand what they're missing to be able to have you here, but then, being able to talk with you in person, all the knowledge and wisdom that you have, it's just great for especially newbies like us that are going along this journey. So it's extremely helpful. So I think the question that we have, I'll actually let Avalisa ask it because she had the question.
How's it going? Sorry, had to wrangle the kids. Hey, Brother James. Hey,
Good to see you.
everybody, man. This Zoom session has been fire. Thank you so much for hosting it. You guys are killing it. James, our question for you. I know we got together this weekend, but there's always so many questions. So for those friends of ours that are skeptic and have zero knowledge of real estate, this is where we're at. We're trying to, we're just trying to spread the word. This is like a hidden secret, not really, but just not many people know about this, right? Yeah. And we really just want to see our friends and our loved ones succeed as much as or want it as badly as we do, because this truly is a real vehicle that'll create wealth, right? Yeah. What would be like a two-liner or something that you would use to pull those people in, break through the skepticism and truly not sell, but like encourage them to come to multifamily or to come to real estate and utilize that as a way to build wealth?
Yeah. Well, sis, the skeptic, there's one in every family, right? I've got skeptics in my family, and notice I said plural, skeptics, right? So what I would say is this: don't try to change the mind of the skeptic. All you and I can do is what we do. If you're passionate about something, in this case, what you're learning in becoming a professional real estate investor, man, just share that story. You don't want to tailor the story towards a skeptic, because the skeptic is a skeptic. Here's what I do know. When that one deal comes, that's what will break a skeptic. Now, there are some hard-headed skeptics, and they will always be skeptics. But a lot of people, you know, and I'll speak for myself. I've been a skeptic towards different things, right? But when you see that proof of concept, there's no denying that. So I think before the deal comes, just continue to, we don't need to drip on people in a way where, you know, we're just trying to tell them, hey man, if you don't come on board now, you're gonna watch me later and you're gonna feel bad that you rejected me. I mean, like, no, let's build a bridge. Remember the song, Build a Bridge, let's be happy. We just do that. We don't need to prove anything to anyone, right? Because honestly, I think when in where we are all at, even me, in just less than 2 years of being on this journey, we've got to be so ultra focused that kind of focus. I'm not even paying attention to skeptics, to be honest. I'm not looking for skeptics. I'm actually looking for the people who I can collaborate with. So right now, what we do is let's just focus on the team, on just collaborating with people who are of like mind, who are at least kind of curious, just like we are. But yeah, I'm not saying to avoid the skeptic like a plague. I'm not saying that, but just know that if the opportunity comes up, because oftentimes, you know, at least the skeptics that I know, they're gonna ask a question just to kind of see if they can, you know, get me on something. But I welcome that, right? I always, even with the success that I have garnered, I'm always having conversations with the skeptical mind. Like, I'm just getting started. Like, I don't really know a whole lot, but I can just tell you what's working. I'm excited about these deals, these apartments that my group, we've been able to acquire. Just be real with the conversation. I wouldn't be too rehearsed, again, because I'm thinking about what the skeptic will say. I mean, you know, just be yourself. Just be passionate. You know, let people see this newfound passion and joy that you have, because all of this is happening because of something and a conversation that you and Quez had, right? About your dreams, about your goals. And, you know, whether it was TAP or someone else kind of piqued your interest in this space. And I think you may have been skeptical about it before, right? Because you're like, and look at what happened to you, right? So just have this belief and have this faith that some of the skeptics will come. They will. They're just, but others maybe never will, and that's okay, right? Just stay focused, because I think this is a very important time for us, that we don't lose momentum. I think skeptics have, if we're not careful, we're spending too much time worrying about, well, what are they thinking, or how can I bring them on? Because you have to ask yourself, what is it that you need from the skeptic? Now, if it's a potential investor, like if it's a high net worth person, that high net worth person, they will come. You know, there's different levels of skeptics. So just kind of make a mental note, but don't worry too much about the skeptic. You know, just stay focused on what you're needing to do. And remember what we talked about, right? The deal. We've got to be so focused on getting that deal, because that deal has a way of resolving a lot of issues, believe me. And also it has a way of bringing some of these people to the table and say, okay, you guys got me. So what's the scoop? What's the skinny on this thing? But don't focus too much on it. I hope that helps.
James, we appreciate it. No,
Yeah.
that was fire. Thank you.
Thanks,
We needed to
James.
hear that. Thank
Love you guys.
All right.
Love y'all too.
I love that. All right, here we go. Our man, the legend, the myth.
The legend. That's my brother right there.
My people, my family, how the hell is everyone?
What's
Love you
going on,
guys.
Felix?
Love this. This is great Sundays. I love my Sundays.
Yes.
Miss every one of you, man. And we had a great weekend last week. I wish we can do it again soon. But let's get a deal together so this way we all have to get together.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So-
We're still looking at that Florida deal, Felix, aren't we?
Yes, I have probably going to be underwriting about writing up 4 LOIs this week.
So
So
good, bro.
Do it.
Florida, one here in Jersey, one in Philly.
Let's
So
go.
gonna be
Action
gone. Gonna
taken.
be gone. I just wanted to get on James. Thank you so much, brother James. You know, the guy he walks around and he's got this guiding light around him. That's why he's such a people person, because he just attracts everybody right to him, because he's so loving. You know, his mannerism is, he's a genuinely caring person, and that's probably why we all love you. But the amount of wisdom that he just, you know, shouted out tonight, I hope everybody takes that to heart, you know, because you know, you don't get these rooms too often.
Yeah.
And that's the best part of this. You know, for all of you new guys and new girls here, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming.
Absolutely.
Write down those questions, bring them here. Every one of us here will be more than happy to talk to you.
Mhm.
Everybody's worried about a partnership. This is why we, you know, these guys do this and why we're on here. You have a list of names that are up here. Everybody's putting their information up here. Find the person you want to get with and talk to them. This is how you're going to find your partners. You know, this is how you're going to get them. Talk to each individual, you know, see if you guys have the same common goals. You know, look at these 4 guys. They got together. There's, you know, they spoke, they talked, and like, hey, you know what? We got this together. We got this common stuff together. And look at them now. You know, these 4 guys are on a journey, and I'm just going to enjoy the ride because I'm going to be there every step of the way with them. You know,
Exactly.
That's what you gotta love. You know, you guys were talking about skeptics. This is the one thing I love to do. I don't ask them to join anything because I know they're a skeptic. What I normally do is I just talk to them and say, hey, listen, I have all of this stuff in the works and I'm looking for a bunch of investors. And this is what I'm doing. I'm doing multifamily properties. I'm looking at this property here. I'm looking at this property here. I just put an LOI in here. I'm partners with a few deals, and I'll tell them the deals that I'm partnered in. You know, I'm an LP on, and I'll show them. You know, this is the amount of money I was gonna. But do me a favor, if you know anyone that is looking to invest in multifamily properties, please do me a favor. Give them my number and tell them to get in touch with me. I would love to talk to them. And that's it. Leave them out of it, because what's going to happen is their wheels are going to turn. Why the hell didn't you ask me? Why didn't he ask me? And guess what? Those skeptics are going to come running to you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Share your intentions, right? Let people know what you're doing. If people
That's
don't
it.
know,
The more and more you talk about it to somebody else and they're listening, they're going to know. They're going to want to know what you're doing, and that's it. You know, and in confidence building, like your brother James said, confidence, man. Confidence is just constantly doing the work. You know, get in there, take action, make those calls. Some people make 10 calls a day. Some people make 20. Start with 1. Make 1 call a day, and that's it. You know, make that call with a broker. And the more and more you talk to these brokers, the more and more you're just going to make it. It's just going to be routine. You're going to know what to ask. You know what I got to say. You're going to know what to expect from them, and just keep doing it that way. You know, get on the phone with one of these guys here. Any one of them would be more than happy to talk to you, including me. So we're all here. We're all on the same team. We're all here to make sure everybody succeeds. You know, and that's the benefit of this. Years ago, when I got into the, real estate business, you never had this. It was a cutthroat business. Nobody wanted to talk to each other. Nobody wanted to share anything. The only time they shared is if they got paid to talk.
Yeah.
That was it. They got paid to talk. They'll sit there and share a little bit, and that was it.
Yeah.
You know, you have everybody here sharing all their goals, all their your commitments, all their wins. This is great. You got to love it. You know, I don't want to take up all the time. So
I love it.
thank you very much, guys. I love each and every one of you. Brother James, thank you so much for
Love
being
you, brother
here.
Felix. So good.
Brandon, I'm looking forward to that next week, man. I can't wait.
Exciting. And hey, let me share one gem with you guys that we learned from Carlos here. Is that if someone asks you, hey, what do you do? There's an interesting line, and that line says, I help people invest in real estate. Oh, that's it. Don't even put it onto them. They'll ask away, right? They'll ask away. And what we have noticed also with our deal right now, when it comes down to finding investors, finding funding, you don't really have to search for it, to be honest. If you have a deal, there's people that ask you to take their money. They want to be part of it, you know? Who wouldn't want to be part of a deal where you can triple or quadruple your money? I mean, where do you see that stuff, right? And as long as you're known and you're really there and you have that confidence, right? I mean, that stuff comes on its own. I wasn't a believer of it in the beginning, but once I experienced it myself, boy, right there.
So good.
All right. So that was the last question we had. I mean, I'm sure there's more questions, but we have to find it. Otherwise, we want to also value Brother James's time, and I know his wife probably wants to spend some time with him tonight as well. James, do you have any last word before I run into our conclusion for tonight?
Well, for just thank you again, Marcel, Trevor, Victor, Charles, for this opportunity, and just for our family here. Listen, we are living in a season of time where, there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of a lot of chaos, but I believe a community like this. Let me just say this, and I hope you hear me loud and clear. A community like this, a group of people like this, we could be world changers. We could be a difference maker. Okay, we have this this common ground to learn more and more how to become professional real estate investors. But make no mistake about it, it's even bigger than that. Each and every one of us have a purpose. We have a calling. And just by learning from each other, there's so much value in that. And so I just thank all of you guys just for creating this space, this opportunity. So good to see my sister Ashley, and I know Zach is oh yeah, Zach's right there. But I just love that we have this community where we can draw from each other. People from different backgrounds, different walks of life, and that's the richness of what a community like this can do. Again, not only in the information on this space of multifamily, but really how we could support one another, how we could cheer each other on, and how we can help other people along the way. That's a great calling that each and every one of us have. And so for that, I'm just so grateful, and thank you again for the opportunity.
James, I do have one question for you.
For sure, bro.
Are we going to be seeing you down in Miami in December at the Grant Cardone Real Estate Club?
It depends, because I'm going to be on a 20-city Christmas tour in December, right? So I've got to look at the dates. I always just say yes. Like if I'm flying, if I have to fly from somewhere to make it to one of the dates, I'll definitely be there again, because it's just so valuable, But that's the only caveat. If I'm on this tour, so we'll see what happens. Hopefully.
Yeah, if you're there, you'll see us.
Oh, no doubt.
Team will be repping.
Yeah.
Thanks, James.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, guys. All right, with that, let's bring in the closing bell. I do wanna, let me share my screen here again. Here we go. Guys, again, let's share about what we're doing. Let's share our intention. Let's grow this community of ours. And by ours, I mean everybody here in the room. I would encourage you, post on social media what you're doing, post about the Zoom today, invite the people that you're connecting with in this space to this Zoom, not to our team Zoom, but call it your Zoom. Join our Sunday Zoom. Every one of you, this is your Zoom. This is not my Zoom, not Trevor's Zoom, not Charles, not Victor's. We host it. Tell people, join our Zoom. Let's get them in the room. Let's get intentional people in the room and put them in front of people like James, like us, quite frankly, right? All of us, and all add value to one another. We'll have Brandon here next week. We didn't even get to underwrite. I see Victor there sitting the whole time. He's soaking in all the value, but he didn't even get to underwrite anything today. And most of you know that have been part of these Zooms before. He's an underwriting ninja as well and can underwrite live on our spreadsheets here. So next week, we'll put a high focus on underwriting with Brandon and Victor together, even, you know, in conjunction. I mean, mind blowing. I'm really excited for that. So with that, guys, bring a friend, get some people in here. Let's get people inspired that are intentional about this space and just keep crushing it. All right. With that, as always, I love to get going with some music, send you into the week with excitement. Let's crush the next week. And I see you back on Sunday, and I'm excited to hear about your wins.
Thank you so much.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win, win, win. And if you going in, put your hands in the air, make them stay there.
Ludacris going in on the verse, cause I never been defeated and I won't stop now. Keep your hands up, get them in the sky for the homies that ain't making it, my folks locked down. I never went nowhere, what they saying Luda's back. Blame it on that contour, the hood call it Luda-yak. And I'm on this foolish track, so I spit my foolish flow. My hands go up and down, like strippers' booties go. My verses still be serving, tight like a million virgins. Last time on a college remix, now I'm on the original version. Can't never count me out, y'all better count me in. Got 20 bank accounts, accountants count me in. Make millions every year, the South's champion. Cause all I do, all I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win, win, win. And if you going in, put your hands in the air, make them stay there. Swerving in my low, head on the swivel, you know serving me's a no-no. Clean as a whistle as I pull out in my Rolls Royce. Yellow bone passenger, they see it, they say, oh boy. Tell Kelly, back it up, my niggas call me loco. Down for armed trafficking, don't make me pull that fofo. Ask you what you laughing at, represent that mud life. Dirty money, bitch, you better get your mud right. We come together holding hands and holler hood life. We all strapping all black, it's like Bud Light. You riding or what? Cause we riding tonight. Now she riding with me cause you wasn't riding. All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there. Cause all I do is win, win, win. And if you going in, put your hands in the air, make them stay there.
Heat in the kitchen, pot on the stove, water getting boiled, dope being sold, Snoopy in the hookie, system overload. I've been running this rap game since I was 20 years old. I hung with the worst of them, bust till I burst them up, floss them up, toss them up, harder way, close them up. Pardon me, I'm bossing up, press you up, bless you, bro, don't mess with us. We like the U in the 80s. Back to back, set a track, hit the lick, get it back, get the trick, jump the track. Bitch, I want my money back. Time and time again, while I'm sipping on this gin. Al Davis said it best, just win, baby, win.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there.